Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I'm really happy to be hanging out in the workshop this morning. I had a busy couple of days earlier in the week and then just catching up yesterday. And on top of playing catch up, my printer decided that it wasn't going to work. It's fine today. I had to reboot the whole computer, but it took a little bit to figure that out. Anyway, always reboot, always try that first. So let's do some artwork. I am working on some Penpal Mail for my patrons through Patreon. These are the cards that I've made so far. I love the way they turned out. I was thinking yesterday, what can I do with these little paper tags? And it occurred to me that they could be the center of flowers if you just stitched the string in place. So that's what I've done with these. And I thought I would make the last four on camera so you can see how I do this. It's a very easy process. I am painting with instant coffee and water. You can use any sort of dark ink. You could probably even use distress ink of some kind. I dropped the tags in the coffee mixture to stain them. And yesterday I found some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist in this really pretty, it's kind of a blue color. Oh, delphinium. Okay. And I thought, oh, it'd be pretty to spray just the tiniest bit in there and let it dry. It's a lot, it's a lot less bright when it dries. So it kind of fits in with this grungy way that I'm doing the flowers. They look like sunflowers to me, which is perfect for fall. The first thing that we're going to do, and you know what, because this is such a small brush, and I want to do several at one time, I'm going to go ahead and take, let's see what happens with a larger brush. Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and paint each card with this coffee mixture. Thin layers, we just want to coat everything. And then we're going to start adding other layers as this first layer dries. And of course you end up with splotches and lines, and you don't have to use a big brush like this. I'm using it simply because I want to show you this in quick order, as they say, short order. Let me go ahead and dry this a little bit. Okay, I dried these a little bit, and once I got the first layer down, I got rid of the large paintbrush and went back to the small one, which is easier to work with in small areas, and I put several layers. I love how we end up with these blotches of color and how they're darker around the outside. While it is still kind of damp, I've been taking my text stamp, this cursive text, and just putting some stamps of text in different spots over the cards. And I love the way it runs just the tiniest bit when the ink is still wet. And there doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason to how you put this on the page. It's just fun to have that background there. So the next part we're going to do, and this is really fun, go ahead and take your tag, put it sort of in the center of the card, as far as in the middle this way, but you can make it high up if you want to. Just be sure that this string comes down below the bottom, because we're going to sew that in place, and I like to make it look like it comes all the way to the bottom of the card. And then I have this beautiful burnt umber watercolor pencil, and I know that I shouldn't dip this in water, or, you know, I've been told that that's not good for the pencils. I don't do this all the time, but I love the look we get when we take this pencil with the coffee stain and make petals all around this tag that I'm just holding in place. So it's not glued down yet. We will glue it down at some point. So just keep going. I don't even have to hold it in place like that. What am I thinking? So just keep adding your petals. You can put, of course, little lines down the centers of the petals. And, you know, make a lot of large petals. And then you could come back. Let's add some more ink to that one. You can come back and add smaller little petals in the center. I just love this, and I think it looks, we can remove this now. I think it looks like a sunflower, and I'm going to definitely do these other three, but for now, let's just focus on showing you this one. And we don't have to do anything with the center. In fact, I mean, you could go ahead and blot up that ink that's in the center. You could leave it like this. See how adorable that is? I'm gonna let this dry a little bit. I will come back and put, you know, just put the paintbrush down on the paper and spread that coffee stain around, but you don't have to. It's very pretty like this. Another tool that I found recently just in the thrift store is this tiny little, it looks like something to dip into honey. And I love this flat center here. What I did, this was the next step in the card, is to take some black paint. And I think you can see that here. I'm just using just watercolor paint, and get a little bit more water with it maybe. And you can start adding blotches. Those are kind of dark. They don't have to be. You can do as little or as much as you like. You could even make some that run down the page. It's really pretty. And it's okay if you get blotches in different places. Let's move all this out of the way. And now this tool, I'm just going to put it into the black paint and twirl it around. And this flat part makes the most perfect little circles. And that just adds some interest to the page. So let's put just a few of those. And I even found that if you take the side and just roll it along, you can get kind of curved marks, and you can do it really lightly. You can press hard, or you can be really soft with it. And I don't want to overdo it. And one other thing that I did was to take the black paint and add just a few little splotches. Well, those are bigger than the other ones, but I wanted to show you that. So I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to go ahead and catch up these other cards with the flowers, and then I will show you the last steps to finishing up these cards that I'm making for my patrons. Okay, I am back after completing the flowers on these 4 additional cards, and you can tell by looking at the colors. You can make it as dark or as light as you want, and if you don't like the coffee stain, you could use some sort of brown ink or distress ink, I guess, maybe mixed in water, or just depending on if you have something that's ready to use. All of the tags are also dry. Now, it's nice if they will dry with the strings straight. Some of these strings are curled a little bit, but that's okay because I'm going to hold it very carefully into place when I take it to the sewing machine. If you don't have a sewing machine, you could very easily glue this into place with a really thin strip of glue all the way down. If you're going to do that, what I would suggest is making sure that this dries as straight as possible. After you take it out of the distress water or the coffee water, just make sure it dries straight, and then it will be much easier to glue into place with a glue that dries clear. You could also remove the string and just use the center of the tag and draw a line, but I think the string is really just kind of grungy. It adds to everything. And I'm going to glue these strings, the tags, in place with the tacky glue. So let's just put one on each card, and I'm going to turn it where the string is coming down towards the bottom. If you can let these dry just a tiny bit before taking them to the sewing machine, it helps to make sure that tag's going to stay in place if you have to pull on it at all to keep it straight. And you won't have to pull hard. It's just a matter of keeping that string straight while you're doing the zigzag stitch right on top of it. So there we have those, and let's go ahead and take this one to the sewing machine. This set on 4, which is a zigzag stitch, and then you have the length of your stitches and the width of your stitches. I've got stain all around my fingernails. You can set it however you want to, but I would suggest not letting the stitch be too wide. It's probably nice to keep it to like a narrow width so that it stays close to the string. Okay, I've carefully put that tag where I want it. I tried not to pull too hard. I've got the string where I want it. And we're going to make sure that it's going side by side on either side of those strings. And that's how it looks. I will show you in a couple of these, I left the string hanging down, and I'm not sure that I like that. I believe I like it better when it's trimmed, and then I took a little bit of tacky glue to make sure it's glued. That's just a loose string there, to make sure it's glued in place and it's not going to move. That way it doesn't come unraveled. So I'm going to trim this up and put some glue. The only other thing I did was to take a very fine tip pen. This is a Stabilo, and I just wrote the word bloom. You can write it however you want to. I did it in all caps there. You can write it in cursive. It can be really messy and hard to read, and you don't have to write a word at all if you don't want to. You could put little black dots like the center of a sunflower. I'm going to go ahead and sew the others in place, and I will be back with the final cards. Okay, I'm back, and we are pretty much finished up with these. I do want to show you one last thing that you can do. If you decide you want to do like just more of a grungy feel at the end, I did go around the edge of the tags on some of these. You can do this in a kind of messy way with the black paint and the stain, and you can just give it kind of some dimension around the tag so it doesn't feel so plain. You know, you could also add some really light marks to define the petals. You don't have to. It's just whatever you like. And I think this technique would work with lighter colors. Say you wanted to do this in oranges and yellows, you could definitely do that. You could still use the coffee stain and add different colors of watercolor in for fall. I think that would be really pretty. And you can change it up. I did do some very light butterfly stamping. There's just one butterfly here. You can see one here and one here. And you can barely even see them, honestly. You have to look close. But sometimes that's the fun of things like this. So I'm going to stop for now. I want to continue to work on my Penpal packs for my patrons. And I got to finish up some fun packs. So I am going to be having some fun packs listed really soon. And I'm probably going to do those through PayPal if anybody is interested in getting a fun pack. Oh, I just love that so much. This was a lot of fun. And I think mass making things definitely makes it easier. And again, I know you're not supposed to do this with watercolor pencils. Dip them in the water because it ends up getting the wood wet. That lead can get wet. I'm fortunate to live near some stores like the Scrap Exchange, and we have a couple of other thrift stores that carry some art supplies. Some of them don't carry a whole lot. The Scrap Exchange does. So I'm always looking for watercolor pencils when I'm in there. And you can just fill up a bucket. So, you know, you could also make your lines with your pencil and then put the water on. I just have always liked drawing with a wet watercolor pencil. It kind of seems like this one needs a little bit more. But the point is, you can make these however they appeal to you. And then come back. See, that one's got a lot of black in it. And so let me show you, if you do end up doing something like that, you can come back while it's wet and we'll pick that black color up. But I just think they look really fun and grungy. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I will be back really soon, and bye for now.